my Jags?
Big dog, unfortunately, no. But I don't think any individual is good enough right now to save a collective organization. You talked yesterday about gravitational pulls, atmospheric pressure. You said stuff like that. But you have to remember, in football, the gravitational pull of an organization is stronger than that of an individual athlete. An organization can pull a great player down, New York Jets Sam Darnold, or it can pull a suspect player up, Sean McDermott, Josh Allen. Like, remember, like the gravitational pull of an organization is typically stronger than that of an individual player. So when I look at Trevor Lawrence, I was like, yo, think about his amazing career at Clemson. I went to the Clemson record books because I wanted to just look at all the records that he'd broken. But there was usually one name above Trevor Lawrence in every statistical category. It was Deshaun Watson.
Yes.
And as good as Deshaun Watson was in college, he was great, won a national championship, dethroned Alabama first. As good as Deshaun Watson has been in the NFL, Texans only won what? About 4 wins this year. There's an image of him walking off the field with J.J. Watt. They talking to each other. Hey, sorry, we wasted a season, bro. Like, we wasted a season. Why? Because in the NFL, one individual player is not enough to make up for failures elsewhere.
I like that. And we're going to say the same thing. I agree. He's not going to save the Jaguars. They need a lot in Jacksonville. They have players all around.
Got pieces.
But the organization from the top down is the issue. Let's talk about this organization as it's being ran right now. The front office is in turmoil in terms of changeover because if you look at it, Khan, the owner, is in a position where some are suggesting that he seems too busy for this business of running a football organization. Now, he makes his money owning Flexingate. You know what Flexingate is? Nope, me either, until I looked it up. They're into the metal and the plastic and the automobile industry and making the cars. It's a lot of money. Dude worth $8 billion. Has a lot on his plate, even in the sports world, to the point where people are saying, we understood when you said, let those who are experts run this organization. But then that didn't create a culture. And as you're saying and suggesting, the culture is what really matters most. To me, it's not who you draft, it's where you draft them. I looked at so many players, including myself. I was drafted to Buffalo, and I was thankful. And I was able to be cultivated and groomed properly. But I knew some other guys more talented than me, going to the wrong place. What had happened was I was like the 9th DN drafted, and some of those guys went to bad places and didn't have the same career.
Can we park there?
Let's go.
Can we park there? Because I think fans, unfortunately, if you don't play the game in college and if you don't play the game in the NFL, you're not privy to seeing the talent on a daily basis. You only see it once a week, maybe 16 times a year, but you're not privy to seeing the talent on a daily basis. Think about, Marcellus, the narrative that so many people place around these first-round #1 overall picks. Jameis Winston, bust. Jamarcus Russell, bust. Sam Bradford, bust. Is it more likely that all these great college quarterbacks are actually just terrible, or maybe they went to franchises that didn't support them? Because typically, if you're the #1 overall pick, unlike the NBA, which has a lottery, you're going to a bad organization, a poorly run franchise. So I would propose that, you know what? Maybe Jameis Winston wasn't all that bad, or Sam Bradford wasn't all that bad, or Baker Mayfield wasn't as bad as we thought. Maybe it's just that these franchises collectively are bad. I'll give it to you like this, because this stat really blew my mind.
Okay.
The last 11 quarterbacks that were taken #1 overall, the last 11 quarterbacks taken #1 overall have a combined 11 playoff wins and 0 Super Bowls. Think about that, bro. Like the last 11 taken #1 overall have a combined 11 playoff wins. So maybe it's not that these #1 overall picks just aren't good. Maybe it's you have to acknowledge the franchise that needs more fixing than what just one pick alone can provide.
Yeah, I told you about how he's the second fastest owner to 100 losses in NFL history. What he got? In 9 years, 1 winning season, and 8 others, 6 wins or fewer. Oh, you can go even further. Last 13 years, only 1 winning season. Yuck. It's a yuck situation. I understand what he's thinking. True power is in delegation. Like, if I'm really going to do this right, I have to have others out there enforce what I want. But there is no culture in Jacksonville right now as you look at it. So putting all of this on Trevor Lawrence's throwing arm is not going to save the day. It's other resources, to the point where there's going to be a growing conversation of maybe you shouldn't draft Trevor Lawrence and draft around him, because someone is sitting there that's maybe in a better situation in terms of their culture that may be needing a Trevor Lawrence and will give you a king's ransom for him, and that will help Jacksonville even more so. Coming up, The Bills are red hot heading to the playoffs. But Uncle Jimmy has the truth of what's going on.
Welcome back to Speak for Yourself. Tua's coming off a 3-interception performance in last week's blowout loss to the Bills. He went 6-3 in his rookie season, but will have to go forward without offensive coordinator Chan Gailey, who resigned after 1 year.
Oh, dang.
Dolphins have the 3rd pick in the draft, but GM Chris Greer said they're, quote, very happy with Tua, and he's their starting quarterback. So, Marcellus, I don't get why we got to have this conversation, but should the Dolphins be very happy with Tua?
Oh, yes, they should be. I'm interested in why we shouldn't have the conversation. Either it's just full agreement and we're going to just be in chorus, or you were like, this is absurd to even ask. They shouldn't be interested in knowing that. Let me do my part. Everyone calm down on this Tua hate. Look, this was a self-inflicted wound caused by the Miami Dolphins organization and yanking him twice in fourth quarters that created this controversy. But the dust has settled now. And if you look at it clearly, Tua is a baller, is a winner in our NFL. Let's compare him to my man Joe Burrow before the injury, obviously, and Justin Herbert, who lit up the world and is probably going to be Rookie of the Year. And if you look at these categories and these numbers, once again, you see who the winner is. It's Tua, because he has the 6-3 record. Everything else is comparable. Everything else is in the same world, except Justin Herbert. What the hell are you doing, superstar, man? But still, Tua's right there, and then translating that into success and wins, Tua did an even better job than even Justin Herbert. This is a rookie who had no offseason, no preseason, and let's be real, it takes 2 years to fully recover from devastating injuries. The first year is just physically getting back and mentally trying to figure out, do I still have a sixth gear? And then the second year is trusting that you do have a sixth gear and go into it. This year, I looked at it as a warm-up rehab year. Like, he was playing with hip house money. Like, his hip was jacked up, and everybody's like, I expect everything. Remind yourself, the guy is coming off a devastating injury and still put up numbers. Without him being yanked, without the controversy, we will all be able to see and not take him for granted as well as he played this year.
I agree with that. That's why I think it was a silly question, because we sing it in harmony right now.
Okay, good.
We got to remember, comparison to thief, joy.
Still it.
And Tua is a 22-year-old who made 9 starts on a 10-win team. I repeat, a 22-year-old quarterback that made 9 starts on a 10-win team. 10-win team that usually ensures you make it to the playoffs. First time since 2015 a 10-win team has not. So everybody has to pump the brakes. But this is what confuses me the most, is that now Tua's being ridiculed for exactly who we knew he already was. That's what I don't get about this whole situation.
Yeah.
I've heard people say, you know, Tua, he's not that athletic. Okay, we get that he's incredibly accurate, but he's not that much of a risk taker. His size, he's not that imposing. His arm, so. Y'all, we knew this about Tua. And what made Tua great is exactly the same person he's showing himself to be in the league. What I don't get is how we're looking at the same picture, yet we're talking about one image in glowing, raving ways, and then we're talking about another image terribly. You brought up the numbers about Tua and Burrow. Tua was 6-3, Burrow 2-7-1. Tua 6.3 yards an attempt, Burrow 6.7. Let me park there for a second, because that's the biggest thing. Everybody says Tua doesn't push the ball down the field. Tua doesn't push the ball down the field. Burrow only had 6.7 yards an attempt to Tua's 6.3. So maybe we're just pushing a narrative about the fact that Tua doesn't throw the ball down the field, because statistics, which aren't opinionated, they're simply factual, they would say otherwise. Tua actually is more likely to throw a touchdown pass per his attempts than Joe Burrow is. So again, if you're just looking at the numbers, which have no feelings, the facts, which have no feelings, everybody should actually be more than happy with Tua, because all the rookie quarterbacks, he led to the most amount of wins, although it is a team game, but also his stats were comparable.
Yeah, I like the fact that you went down a lane that I think we should journey a little further. They're grading them on a curve. And I understand we grade on a curve based on performance. I'm okay when it's a meritocracy. Like, okay, grade them against Justin Herbert. And you're like, well, Justin Herbert's #1 and Tua may be #2 for your rookies. You could go Joe Burrow. Oh, that's cool. But I don't like it when it takes that shift from performance-based grading to maybe likability, maybe storyline, other narratives that jump in and inject themselves into the conversation. It happened with the Hall of Fame. There's no way that Terrell Owens should have been a third ballot Hall of Famer. But you know what came into the conversation? Other factors. We're now seeing it with the rookies. Other factors. Because when you look at it strictly by the numbers, you don't understand the gap in conversation of why Justin Herbert's here and Tua's in the trash. He's one of 4 rookie quarterbacks to start at least 8 games and win over 65% of them in the last decade. Hello. No love for that? Okay, I got more.